Thanks for being here, everyone. This is the third session of the Acadia National Park Science Symposium that began in 2020 and is continuing into the early months 2021. Today's session theme is early career opportunities. My name is Catherine Schmidt. I'm the Science Communication Specialist at Schoodic Institute, and I'll be moderating today. And I'm really excited to hear from our speakers. A few logistical items. We'll hear from our speakers, and then we're going to have a couple breakout groups. There will be a break between the breakouts, which will just give us time to shuffle people. And then we'll come back for a full group discussion at the end of the second hour. Feel free to use the chat to post questions. We'll have time for just a clarifying question or two as we transition between speakers, but you'll have more time to ask detailed questions in the breakout groups and the full group discussion. So if you want to put them in the chat so you don't lose them, that's fine, and we'll get to them when we can. And it's my pleasure now to introduce Nick Fizzy, President and CEO of Schoodic Institute, to say a few words of welcome.
Great, thank you, Catherine, and hi everybody, welcome. It's good to see you all here today. Again, I'm Nick Fizzy, President and CEO with Schoodic Institute at Acadia National Park. We're a nonprofit partner of the National Park Service and Center for Science, Learning, and Community in a rapidly changing world. Our science and much of the science that you and others are doing here in Acadia National Park is about the four horsemen of the global change apocalypse, as it's sometimes referred. These are climate change, non-native invasive species, habitat fragmentation, and pollution. So these are really serious challenges, and certainly enough to make you want to stay home and maybe not go outside again, kind of like during a pandemic. And then I've been asked, how do I find hope when buried in this type of research on these really serious challenges? And sometimes it's hard, but one of the main ways I find hope, one of the brightest parts of this work, is engaging with the next generation of conservation champions, students, and early career professionals. They're growing up in the realities of climate change. It's what they know, it's what they've witnessed in their 15, 20, 25, 30 years, however old they may be. The science of climate change is not a ridiculous political debate. It's the challenge that they are already addressing and that they will address through their careers and in creative and innovative ways that many of us have never imagined. And so engaging the next generation is one of the biggest motivators I have for getting out of the house, even sometimes during a pandemic, and perhaps you feel the same way. So thank you for joining this session of the Acadia Science Symposium. Big thanks to the team at Schoodic and the National Park Service for all the work in creating today's session, and especially thanks to today's speakers. And with that, I will hand it over to Abe Miller-Rushing, Science Coordinator with Acadia National Park, to kick off the session.
Hey everyone, I just want to very quick comments. I want to thank everyone for coming, and I want to emphasize the importance of these early career opportunities that you'll be hearing about today, the internships, technician positions, and other opportunities for us to achieve our mission here in Acadia and throughout the National Park Service. These positions are really critical. In the summer, more than half of our staff here are seasonal, and a lot of those positions are filled by early career folks, and they help us really recruit a lot of great talent, diverse perspectives, and creativity into our workforce. And a lot of our current staff in Acadia, and also for Schoodic Institute and Friends of Acadia and other organizations in the area, got their start through these kinds of opportunities. And others have gone on to opportunities. Some of the people who've graduated from some of the positions that you'll hear about have gone on to faculty positions at universities where they're leading research in national parks across the country, and other things. So this hopefully is a good you'll hear about opportunities to network and whatnot, and know that they're really valuable to us here for the park and the Park Service, and that we encourage you to apply and really look forward to working with you going forward. With that, I'm going to hand it back over to Catherine to introduce the speakers.
Thank you, Abe and Nick. I actually got my start, so I had just finished. I was in graduate school when I started working with the park, doing some writing for Friends of Acadia Journal, and then received a fellowship from Schoodic Institute before I came to work there. So I think we all probably have a story like that, and I hope that our speakers will share their story as well. Our first speaker is Kate with us. Kate was having some computer problems. So I think maybe, Stephanie, are you ready to go first? And then we'll come back to Kate. Okay.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie Clement, and I am Conservation Director with Friends of Acadia. I've been in my current role for just over 23 years now, and I consider myself incredibly lucky to work with a really talented group of people who are dedicated to the park and to outdoor science, learning, recreation, all of those wonderful things. So I came to Acadia right out of graduate school. I went to the University of Vermont, thought I was going to go into the water quality field, but this job came up and I applied, and I was incredibly lucky to end up here. And just like Nick said, one of the greatest joys of my career at Friends of Acadia has been hiring and meeting all sorts of wonderful young people who have incredible enthusiasm, tremendous skills, and great affinity and ability to connect to people and share a love and encourage a love of our national park here. So with that, I will start sharing my screen here, and we can get into the meat of the presentation. So first, I just wanted to give a little bit of background about Friends of Acadia. Our mission statement is there, but we really exist as a group of passionate people who support us financially through volunteer time, through advocacy work, really to protect and promote stewardship of Acadia and the surrounding communities for current and future generations. There are currently about 5,000 members, 18 of us full-time on staff, and in summer we usually employ up to 30 more people. And we also grant funds to some of the partner organizations, such as the Schoodic Institute and the National Park Service for other positions that they offer. And I forgot to mention, I do want to thank both the Schoodic Institute and Acadia for generating this panel and allowing me to participate. We have both summer and longer term seasonal positions that are available in the park. So some of you may have already graduated college and are looking for longer term positions. We do have positions that run through the fall and that may start earlier in April. And we also have those shorter seasonal summer positions if you are still a current student. Our applications deadlines vary. Most positions start at about $15 per hour. And I will say that our positions are usually structured as employment opportunities, but if it fits with your university's guidelines, we're certainly willing to work with you to ensure that the position meets your internship. So that's part of the negotiation process about whether it's truly an employment job or whether it's an internship. So be sure to check your university's guidelines on that. The website listed on this slide is the website where you can find all of our job opportunities. And for the first time this year, I wanted to mention that in an effort to enable, to be the most inclusive we can in employing candidates from all different backgrounds, we are offering relocation and transportation stipends. They may be available upon demonstrated needs. All you need to do is in your application, request that you be considered for those. We may not have enough to go around for everyone, but we just want to be sure that we don't rule anyone out for financial reasons. The other thing that I want to stress is that a lot of our seasonal employees are employed by Friends of Acadia, but we grant their time to Acadia National Park. And that's one of the things that's most exciting about this panel is that you don't just have to work for the Park Service to be involved with national parks. All of us, the Schoodic Institute, Friends of Acadia, University of Maine, we have positions available that enable you to work in a national park, not just work for the National Park Service. And then the last thing that I want to stress is please do pay attention to the particular details of each application that you submit, because the requirements for the jobs and actually how you submit your information are important to pay attention to. And use that cover letter to connect your experience on your resume to why you want the job. So use your passion in that cover letter, but don't just tell us why you're passionate about the park. Tell us why your experience tied to that passion makes you the best candidate. And next, I'll just go through the brief opportunities that we do offer. Note the application deadlines are coming up for some of these positions, so please do visit the Friends of Acadia website for the application information. Our Summit Stewards that you see here, this is Steph Lai, who's the coordinator. They work a lot out in the park as roving ambassadors. They are leave no trace educators. They participate in light trail maintenance, meaning they destroy visitor-created cairns. They also help repair cairns in the field. They assist with traffic management up on Cadillac Mountain and other areas. They may participate in rescues or light first aid for folks who get injured in the park. And they're responsible for collecting data. They log all of their activities. They may participate in traffic counts or other things. So that ability to pay attention to details is important. Our Acadia digital media team, you may have seen some of their photographs at the Friends of Acadia social media sites, but these folks are responsible for really engaging the public through both videos and through still photography. And also we don't want to be the tourism bureau for Acadia and just post beautiful pictures. It's also about stewardship messaging and using these tools to connect to parks in a way that will create good resource stewardship moving forward. They also have to be good organizers of their files online. They participate in critiques of each other's photography, and they assist the Friends of Acadia staff and the park staff with any live streaming of events or needs. And we have a site at the base of the Precipice Trail that the National Park Service folks are out there interpreting the peregrine falcons, and the Acadia digital media team may set up their large camera attached to a video screen so that people don't have to look through spotting scopes and they can still see the peregrine chicks up there on the mountain. This year, we have a special social media position as part of the Acadia digital media team that will really focus on how to adapt the work of the ADMT to social media, again, to create and share those appropriate stewardship messages and respond to comments and so on. We have a Wild Gardens of Acadia intern who works at the Wild Gardens of Acadia at Sur de Mont in Acadia National Park. And they work with a group of volunteers and with the supervisory gardener on tasks such as raking the paths, weeding the habitats, watering plants, turning the compost, all of those things. But the intern also spends a whole lot of time engaging with visitors, getting them excited about the plants they're seeing, telling them unique little stories about plants, and also encouraging the use of native plants as important features in gardens, and trying to encourage people to recognize that you should think about what you plant prior to establishing your garden. They may assist with tours or other educational materials such as the brochures or the bulletin boards, and they also report daily logs of their activities. The recreation technicians, and this photo, Devin Brock Montgomery, I think is actually on this call, and this is a photo of Devin in her work in the field. They often assist with monitoring visitor use on the trails, also the carriage roads and the motor road system. They collect, process, and enter data, and they may perform statistical analyses based on their background and interest. Their work really is set by the National Park Service. So they work very closely with the park's social scientist, Adam Gibson, and their work has been incredibly important over the last years as the park has gotten ready to implement the transportation plan, which, so they're doing a whole lot of traffic studies, a whole lot of monitoring of parking lot counts and that sort of thing. So it's a great way to enter into the recreation management field. The Stewardship Assistant is someone who usually works with the volunteers out in the field. We have a drop-in program every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday where anyone can show up and be presented with either a carriage road or trail maintenance project, or maybe removal of invasive plants, or whatever the needs are. This year, because of the pandemic, we are not taking general drop-in volunteers. So this position, though, will work with the dedicated group of volunteer crew leaders who know what they're doing already. And so this person will be making sure that those volunteer crew leaders are well equipped, that they are organized, and that they report their data and keep track of all documents. And then another program that we usually offer that unfortunately we're not able to offer this year is the Acadia Youth Conservation Corps. And that's high school students who are working directly with park management teams on the trails and carriage roads. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we had to cancel it last year, and we're canceling it again this year. But for high school students, that will be an opportunity moving forward, hopefully in 2022. And that's it for me. Once again, here's the website where you can find all of those employment opportunities, and also my email address if you have other questions. And we can get back to that in more detail in the breakout sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. If you wouldn't mind, Stephanie, posting that link right in the chat, and then we'll also be sure to share all of the links and resources in the follow-up email that goes out to all of the participants. So you'll have access to that, but for those who want to grab it right now, that would be great. Any quick questions for Stephanie? As we are transitioning to, so Kate Petrie from the National Park Service has joined us, and thankfully, so, but we'll shift her to the end of the agenda. So we'll go ahead, Sarah, if that's okay with you. Going next?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Okay, great. I don't see any questions, Stephanie. I do see just a thanks to reminding that there's other ways to work in parks than for the .gov National Park Service. So next we're going to hear from Sarah Hooper. She's the education specialist at Schoodic Institute at Acadia National Park.
Thank you, Catherine, and good afternoon, everyone. So I am Sarah Hooper. I'm the education specialist for Schoodic Institute. And like others, I actually got my start through a similar kind of early career opportunity I was with the Student Conservation Association. And I ended up actually from Boston. I ended up in Arizona with the Bureau of Land Management, and they actually hired me and got me started on my career as well. So I really value these kind of opportunities, as others have said. So with Schoodic Institute, we are a research learning center, and that's a nonprofit partner of Acadia National Park on the Schoodic Peninsula. And I'm a member of our science team. And so we do environmental research and monitoring and science education and communication and access for research in the park. First, I want to thank Acadia for hosting the Science Symposium, to Abe and Emma and Catherine, and to all the others who coordinated and facilitated this event, and to the other speakers as we highlight these early career opportunities for you all. So I'd like to give you an overview of the experiences that we offer at Schoodic for early career scientists through the work that we do, and really why they're so important to us. So our mission at Schoodic Institute is to observe and document and work to understand the environmental changes that are happening in our world, and we engage people in this science. And so early career scientists are integral, they're essential to the research and monitoring work that we do. But we consider this a reciprocal relationship. So it's more than just hiring technicians to help us get our work done, like get out there and start collecting our data. Instead, it's a really intentional goal of the science work that we do at Schoodic to help young scientists start their career path. So we're really committed to fostering the next generation of conservation champions and science leaders and managers and advocates. We have two primary opportunities that we offer. They typically happen during our summer field season. These are our ecology field technicians and college interns. We do support other technician positions through our partnerships with the Park Service, and we can get more information to you about those at another time. I'm going to focus on these two that we offer through our science team. So first, our ecology field technicians. These are recent college graduates, and I emphasize recent because we often hire techs that have just graduated from college, like they might graduate in May and start with us in June. So they may come to us with some field experience and skills from college courses or their summer opportunities they've done. But just as important to us is this willingness to learn and to take initiative and to work independently or in small teams and to engage with the public and park staff and scientists. So interpersonal skills are key. And it's really this openness to new experiences and a passion for the outdoors and field research and the environment that we value in our techs. And then we will train them in the field skills that they'll need with us. These are full-time paid positions that occur during our summer field season, and they do include housing. So our techs live on the Schoodic campus during the time that they're with us. For our college interns, these are typically 10-week internships. And the college or university where the intern comes from provides the funding to support the intern's time with us. So it's stipend and salary and cost for room and board, because the interns also live on campus during their time here. They do similar field work as the techs, but they also complete an independent project. And we consider this an important educational component of the internship. So for example, Jackie here created a BioBlitz scavenger hunt with iNaturalist for visitors that come to the Schoodic campus because she became interested in the citizen science aspects of her work. Other interns might conduct field research or data analysis that supplements the research of our science team. And our science team really supports the interns in choosing and managing their project to make sure it aligns with our research and with the interns' interests. So what is the science that we're doing at Schoodic Institute? Let me give you a little taste of what our techs and interns might get involved with. We are monitoring what we call sea to trees. We're really documenting the biodiversity across the intertidal zone and into the coastal forests. And because of this, we offer a variety of field experiences. And rather than having our techs specialize in a certain ecological niche, such as forest ecology or marine ecology or citizen science, we have them working across the different projects that we're doing. So this is really a time for them to discover new passions or to reinforce and deepen ones they might have already established. And all of this is happening while they're developing and practicing the essential field science skills that they'll need to be successful with us and in their future career path. So our Sea to Trees monitoring and research is led by our science program directors at Schoodic in marine and bird and forest ecology. And curiosity is a hallmark of our science team, and our techs and interns get to experience that in the research and monitoring projects they participate in. So some of the questions our scientists are investigating and where techs and interns might get to collect field data include like, how does rockweed harvesting affect its role as a foundational species in the intertidal zone? And what changes are we seeing in the resident and migratory water birds that are moving through the Schoodic Peninsula? Or how might our future forests in Maine change? And how might we manage for that in light of global climate change? So again, this variety of experiences and questions and projects that we involve our early career techs and interns in. So Earthwatch teams are also an important component of our science programs in the summer. These are teams of citizen science volunteers, and depending on the composition of a team, it might be a group of teens or adults or a school group or corporate team. So our techs and interns interact with a variety of people from many backgrounds when we host these Earthwatch programs. We really rely on our techs to teach our data collection protocols and lead these teams in the field. And don't worry, we will train you, but you really are frontline leaders in these citizen science efforts. In 2020, with the pandemic, we couldn't host any Earthwatch teams, but our science continued in its myriad of ways in the park. And also, so our techs participated in a new biodiversity initiative on MDI as part of the Wild Acadia program. And their work was important not only in the data they collected, but also in helping to establish the field protocols that we intend to use with our Earthwatch teams in 2021. And this is one of the ways that we try and provide opportunities for our techs to take initiative and problem solve in kind of real world sciencey ways. So one thing I really want to highlight is our emphasis on public engagement in our science and the important role our techs and interns take in that. Science is not a private affair, especially in a national park, but also in many places. And as our techs and interns are teaching and leading field teams of citizen science volunteers and interacting with the public and other Schoodic and park staff and scientists, we support them as they practice and deepen and build confidence in their leadership skills, which are important skills for our future scientists. We also work with them on science communication skills. We believe it's essential for scientists to tell and write the stories of our research. And this is another important aspect of public engagement in our work. So we ask our techs and interns to contribute short written pieces that we post on our website and Facebook page. And then we help them with this writing and the editing of these. And hi, Shannon. Yes, this is one of yours. So I hope you can see how much we value engaging our techs and interns in this diversity of experiences, from real field research to public engagement and science communication. And so, speaking to you, early career scientists, mentoring you along the way is a really important part of what we do. We want to be here for you. Since, as I said earlier, we hold this as an intentional goal to foster your growth as you begin your career and to provide experiences and skills that are critical to whatever future path you take. So how does this happen for us? It is coming up fairly soon. For our 2021 field season, we are anticipating 3 ecology field tech positions and 2 to 4 college internships. We anticipate having our announcement out in February with our interview and selection process in March and a start work date in June. And if you have any questions about our technician or internship programs or the application process, feel free to contact me or Hannah Weber, our Director of Marine Ecology. We can talk about it more in the breakout rooms, and we're happy to give you more information or talk you through the process. Also, check our website, check back to our website for these and then other early career opportunities that we support with our partners and ones that I didn't cover here. Finally, I just want to say how grateful we are to our past and in a pay it forward kind of way, our future early career techs and interns. They come to us on this whole myriad of projects. They share their curiosity and their passion and their positive energy. They're willing to dive in and take on all these new experiences and learn new skills and problem solve. And they contribute to our science in really important ways. And then through all of that, it's incredibly rewarding for us to watch them form connections to the landscape and the sea to trees ecosystems in Acadia and to grow as scientists. And these are the inspirations that we want them and you to carry forward into your career journey. And this is why we believe so deeply in fostering the next generation of conservation champions and science leaders. To make all this happen, we also offer our gratitude to our donors and foundations and the Park Service for providing the funding that support these early career positions with Schoodic. As I said earlier, it's truly a reciprocal relationship between what our techs and interns offer to us and then what they gain from their experience with us. And we couldn't do it without the funding and support. So thank you again to all who coordinated the Science Symposium. Thank you all for listening. And I look forward to chatting more with you and answering your questions in our small breakout groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. If you could also post those links in the chat, just the email addresses and the employment opportunities web address, so people can get them quickly. I know that some of my favorite days at work are the days that I get to spend out in the field with our technicians and our interns. And here we are with another season coming up on us, and I'm already looking forward to those days.
Me too. It's great.
Thanks
Thank
again,
you.
Sarah.
Thank you.
Next up is Sabrina Morano from the University of Maine.
Oh, great. Oh, I can't share my screen though.
Okay, we'll just
So. But I can introduce myself. So my name's Sabrina Morano. I'm the program coordinator for the UMaine graduate program, Enhancing Conservation Science and Practice. I'm also a research faculty in the wildlife department at the University of Maine. And I also got my start, much like Sarah, with the Student Conservation Association. And I got an internship in the National Park Service in North Dakota. And I think that these internship and early career opportunities are a great way to kind of explore different areas of the country as well. So for folks that maybe aren't from Maine, it's a good opportunity to get up here and have some kind of structure experience for a little while and kind of help to start your path in the future.
Can you share now, Sabrina?
I think it's working now. Yep, great. Everyone can see that?
Yes.
All right. So this is going to be a little bit of a shift. I want to talk about our graduate program here at the University of Maine. And again, it's called Enhancing Conservation Science and Practice. And it's a newly developed transdisciplinary graduate program really aimed at developing conservation leaders. So I think it fits in nicely with this kind of topic of getting professional development experience and kind of early career scientists. So we're really aimed at kind of developing those additional skills aside from just academic background in this program. So sorry. So just a little bit about this program. It's a research traineeship program. It was developed through a grant from NSF. And really the rationale behind it is that many graduate students are really working outside of academia. So this is a graduate program, again, and development of these broader educational background along with kind of varied professional skills are really necessary to meet the demands of the workforce. And I think this is particularly true in the field of environmental science and conservation. And so this program really stresses the importance of communication, leadership skills, and interacting with stakeholders as part of graduate education, especially in the sciences. So our program in particular aims to develop a new graduate education model that really integrates faculty, students, and partners from the social and biophysical sciences to really prepare the next generation of conservation leaders. And to address some of these challenges that Nick had mentioned regarding this rapidly changing world that we're in. And so our program explores resilience of social ecological systems. We focus in rural communities under shifting seasons and changing climate and under various governance models. And so our program has identified really 3 core areas which are critical to understanding resiliency of these social ecological systems. And we've identified them as being biodiversity conservation, public attitudes, values, and engagement, rural livelihoods, spatial analysis, and then governance frameworks. And so we're really encouraging research aimed to identify how local and global drivers of change may interact within these core areas to impact resilience in these systems. And we're encouraging students participating in our program to consider really both biophysical and social science implications of their research in order to integrate knowledge from multiple disciplines and develop new transdisciplinary approaches to solving conservation challenges. So some of the strengths of our program are that we have faculty participants from a variety of biophysical and social science fields. So you can see here we have folks from communication, wildlife, forestry, remote sensing, psychology, human dimensions, economics. all participating in the program. And as a result, our graduate students, which we refer to as trainees in this program, come from kind of these multiple degree programs and have very diverse backgrounds. And students are able to participate in the program, even if they are working with faculty advisors or degree programs outside of our affiliated faculty at UMaine. So I want to make that clear that if you're interested in this program, if you're at UMaine as a graduate student, contact us and we can find ways for you to participate through the specialization, a graduate specialization. So as part of our core requirements, students take courses in both biophysical and social science disciplines, such as resilience theory, stakeholder facilitation and communication, analytical methods, and transdisciplinary research. We also focus on development of professional skills within our courses, and also by encouraging opportunities for interaction with professionals through meetings, workshops, and internship experience. And then students are also co-advised by both biophysical and social science faculty, or at least have graduate committees comprised of both. Our program really has a strong emphasis on collaborative research, and students, I think, really benefit from connecting and learning from each other, given their diverse backgrounds. And then as part of the program, we encourage students to create kind of interdisciplinary research teams, develop joint research proposals, and work on jointly written manuscripts focused on issues of social ecological resilience. Finally, I think though one of the greatest strengths of our program, in addition to the diverse backgrounds of our faculty and trainees, really comes from this partnership with the conservation organizations. Their involvement in course delivery, research collaborations, and professional development is really key. And these opportunities to engage with and be mentored by people working in the profession is a great benefit to our trainees. So to talk a bit more about internship opportunities, connecting with this session in particular, one of the ways that students are really able to engage with our conservation partners as part of this program is through an internship experience. And so for us, the way we have it set up is that trainees will identify kind of professional development goals and internship objectives. So they look kind of to themselves and identify things that they want, skills that they want to develop more fully. And then they use that to kind of identify organizations whose research and needs align with their interests and skills. And then they work with these conservation partners and their advisor to develop an internship plan. And we've developed some resources, so internship guidelines and proposal templates. So here, if students are interested, you can look on our website. So here on the bottom is the website for our program, Conservation Science. These are our trainee and faculty resources, and this is where these guidelines lie. So if anyone's interested in ideas about how maybe to develop an internship on your own, working with a partner, that might be a good resource to help. And then at the end of the process, trainees provide kind of a final reflection on their experience, and then again, outputs like a poster or short write-up, similar to what Sarah was talking about. Sorry, I see chats and I just wanted to make sure. Okay. All right, so I just had one example of an intern of ours, or a trainee of ours, who did an internship with Schoodic Institute and Sarah Hooper, Lydia Horn, and she had a great experience. And here you can see she kind of thought about the goals that she wanted to get out of the internship experience, and then designed, kind of worked with Sarah to design a project that would both help them, but also help her develop the skills that she was interested in kind of improving on. And just kind of in closing, just a few thoughts that we had from this first year that we've had students participate in internships, and things that have made really successful experiences for students, I think, are really strong collaboration between the student and the partner. And I realize that this model that we have is probably different from a lot of areas where maybe internships are already identified ahead of time and if students apply to them. But if that's not the case, I think really working to create a project that benefits both the organization and the student is really important. And certainly frequent interactions between supervisors and students, clear expectations and project deliverables, so timelines and clear kind of next steps was really helpful. Things that are mutually beneficial, like I said, so aligning the needs of the agency with skills, but also the ability for the intern to develop new skills that the organization would help kind of mentor them through is really important. And then I think one of the things that our trainees really appreciated was opportunity to kind of learn more about the organization, potentially attend meetings or connect with other members and see kind of different job opportunities as well, just outside of what they were working on. So here's my contact information. So if you have any questions about the program, here's our website. There's a bunch of information on there. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Sorry, I was seeing all the chats and I got nervous that like people weren't hearing me or something had happened.
It wasn't me. It must be your legion of fans out there reaching out to you already. And maybe share those links in the chat.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Great, let me stop that.
So Kate has joined us despite technical difficulties, and I'm gonna run through the slides. So I'll just.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome.
You still need me to do your slides?
I do. My government laptop is crashed.
Okay.
I'm Kate Petrie. I'm the education coordinator for Acadia National Park, and the volunteer positions and internships that I will talk about today are in education. We work teaching science literacy within the park, and our main goal is to bring kindergarten through 8th grade students, as well as high school, into the park to have a positive experience and start to develop a sense of stewardship. So everything we do is designed to get kids post-COVID out into the park, hands-on, feet-in experiences, and at the same time meet curriculum goals for schools so that teachers can easily bring their students out into the park repeatedly because we're meeting their curriculum goals as well. Catherine, you can advance. Looking at the next slide, we have different avenues for people to learn about what we do. We start with youth volunteers, middle school and high school students, working with our festivals and some of our summer programs. It gives them a chance to sample career opportunities, also gives them a chance to earn community or service learning credits. We also have postgraduates of every age, from all the way up into their 80s who volunteer with us part-time as a way to give back. Our next slide shows a little bit more about our program. We have full-time volunteers who work with us 32 hours a week. That allows us to put them in park housing. We can arrange college credit as long as they proactively apply for it. Getting college credit after you've come to the job is not always successful. These positions usually run 6 to 24 weeks. And they can work with day programs on the Mount Desert Island side or residential education on the Schoodic side. But we do, thanks to Friends of Acadia, have paid internships as well. With our next slide, we have teaching assistants. They make minimum wage, but they also get housing. They work 40 hours a week, particularly with our residential education program. We typically work 4 days on and 3 days off. And some make the pre-arrangements to receive college credit. And they typically work 6 to 14 weeks with residential education. Now this program is really interesting. Every year my staff ranges in age from about 17 to 70, and it makes for a really good teaching situation, and almost like bonding at boot camp because we're with hundreds of kids and putting in lots of hours. Creates a very special feeling for the program where interns come back again and again. And I have had several apply to be seasonal rangers and come back in the green and gray and work for us with the teaching assistant training leading them into it. Go on to the next slide. Just to give folks an idea of the different types of programming that we're working with. Again, it's kindergarten through 12th grade. Our day program staff are essentially leading field trips in the park, things like geology hikes or tours of our 1800s cabin. The next slide. We do school outreach where we take several programs into schools. Teaching water chemistry to older kids. We have bats in your backyard, which links in with the bat research in the park. We do schoolyard citizen science programs in phenology, which again link in with several things we do in the park. Talking about adaptations, as well as with younger students, the NPS mission, careers. Next slide. Our residential education program actually offers two programs, a 3-day, 2-night, as well as a 4-day, 3-night program, where students come and stay with us and get a really immersive experience. It's almost a rite of passage for that developmental level of middle school. Next slide. While we cover 17 different programs that teachers can choose from while they're with us, most of the content is heavily geared towards marine science, map and orienteering, digital mapping, GPS, leave no trace. We do offer a photojournalism course, forest ecology, soil ecology, as well as the traditional evening campfire. Next slide. And to mix it up a little bit, each season, our staff also participates with public festivals, as well as some summer programming. Go ahead, Catherine. Every position in the park also gets a chance to do a lot of support duties. Some of that might be manual labor, like assembling chairs, on into office duties. But I also get an array of park experiences so that they see more than just their job while they're with us. We get them out on ride-alongs if we can. And out with the trail crew just to get a good behind-the-scenes view of what it takes to run the park. Next slide. Now, this isn't an internship, but we do also offer for in-service teachers something called the Acadia Teacher Fellows, where teachers come and study with us for 4 to 6 weeks in the summer, again, funded by Friends of Acadia. We take them on a series of behind-the-scenes experiences. They send them out into the field with different research sciences, both with Schoodic Institute and the park, occasionally with the university, and give them a well-rounded idea of research behind the scenery. Next slide. And I'd be happy to talk to people more about any of those programs or accept resumes. We have rolling enrollment. If people have any questions, they can send me a resume or shoot me questions at this email. And Catherine, thank you for running the backup slideshow. I will put my address in the chat as well.
Great. No problem, Kate. I'm glad you were able to join us.
Me too.
Is there a, Kate, is there a central web address where these are listed, or how do people apply?
Not at this time. We're in the process of rehabbing our website. So people, we advertise on nps.gov. We advertise in several different internship post sites, and just ask people to email us cover letter and resume.
I was actually one of my after the first year of college, I was a full-time volunteer, not with the Park Service, but I got housing. And so it's a fair exchange, I think, if it's an experience that's desirable. Thank you to all of our speakers. We're gonna have time now for, in smaller groups, to talk with our speakers and ask any follow-up questions on their presentation. And you're gonna be sent to a breakout group in a couple minutes. And the speakers are going to be hosts of breakouts. We have an additional guest host. Caitlin McDonough-McKenzie is gonna be a host as well. And these are sort of some prompts to get you started. Feel free to stray from these and talk about whatever you want. I think we will have small enough groups, so please do introduce yourself. So have everyone introduce themselves before you get started in your discussions, because the groups will be small enough that there's plenty of time for that. These are the discussion questions. For those seeking opportunities, why are you seeking opportunities? What are your career goals and relevant skill sets that you might bring to some of these positions? For those of you who are offering opportunities, you can talk about the kinds of skills and experience and background that you look for when you're hiring interns, technicians, and other positions. And then we have a lot of partners and friends who have also joined us today. And there's certainly an opportunity to just talk about why you love Acadia and why you think it might be a great place to work or to create opportunities for those in the early stages of their career or early stages of a new career. And then we'll have a break. So it's about 15 minutes. And then there'll be, when the session ends, feel free to take a 5-minute break as we're reshuffling the breakout groups. And the reason we're doing 2 is we just really wanted to make sure that people had a chance to meet with more than one person. And so feel free to come back, to leave your breakout and come back to the main room if there's a really specific breakout group that you want to join. So the main room will be staffed and you can just come back there and request to be put in a different breakout if that's what you want and if you want to try to move around. And the breakout hosts have a copy of these questions. So any questions before we go? Okay, the last thing is there's no formal report out or notes or anything, but do come back and raise any questions that came up or major points that you think the whole group would like to share, and you can put those in the chat and then bring them up with the full group. And with that, I think we're ready. To go, Roy.
Hey, Sarah, can I ask you a question? Oh, sorry, this is Sabrina. I was curious with your ecological monitoring that you were talking about, the sea to trees. Mm-hmm. If you have sites that you guys have identified that you go back to for monitoring. And I was thinking about this for our undergrad ecology courses and just trying to find, we do some like intertidal sampling, but it's always like super sketchy. And so if you guys had sites that were kind of like easy to access or, you know, that you'd been monitoring for a long time, it would be kind of neat to think about trying to incorporate, you know, students for our lab going out there and doing that and either contributing to the data you're collecting or just kind of learning.
No, good questions. We've been establishing sites. I don't know that we have, and Hannah, I don't know if you probably are still so Hannah Weber's on here. She's a marine ecologist, and she could probably give more details on that. We've been establishing them more recently. I've only been here a year and a half, but you know, they were really just getting going on it. So I don't know if we've had some for a long term, but it'd be interesting to explore and see if there are opportunities there for sure.
Yeah, I want to sneak in on this from the Colby perspective as well, because I know that we're revamping Intro to Ecology and thinking about places. We didn't get to go anywhere this fall, places to go maybe next fall or in the future. And especially being able to monitor across such a great gradient would be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be great. And they are, and Sabrina, to kind of speak to the accessibility. I mean, because we couldn't, like with our Earthwatch teams, we can't always like pile them in all in a bunch of van and take them places. So several of the ones we were setting up are right on the Schoodic Peninsula, you know, right off, you know, we can walk to them from campus. Some are a little closer than others, but yeah. So that was a great question.
Yeah, I'll have to follow up about potential sites that might be good to get to with your crew if you've been out doing monitoring. You guys probably have good ideas in both Acadia and then on Schoodic.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, let's definitely stay in touch on that. And Caitlin too. I mean, keep it. I didn't mean to not suggest that.
That's okay. I didn't feel left out. I'm going to follow
Good.
up.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yep. And
Yeah.
Sabrina, I have a question for you quickly. Have you guys been in touch with anyone from the University of Vermont's Field Naturalist program? Because it really sounds similar to it's a master's program, but it sounds really similar to their project-based masters in how you set up the internships and scaffold that. It'd be a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, thanks. We haven't, but I'll look at that a little bit more as well. We're always looking to develop new professional development opportunities and also partner with additional people. So certainly if anyone here is interested in connecting more, we'd love to talk.
A lot of things open on my screen, so. All right, welcome back, everyone. Does anyone want to share? Are there any outstanding questions that people were not able to ask of our presenters? We will be sharing the links to where to find these opportunities and the contact information in a follow-up email. And I think we had in one of the groups that I joined, there was a suggestion, which I think was a good one, to put these in a central location. And I think certainly for opportunities in Acadia, it seems like something that we at Schoodic Institute could easily put these resources on a page so that you have a place to go, and that would be something that we would update every year. So if that sounds helpful, let us know. Any other major points that that came up in your breakouts that you think? I know one of the things in our breakouts was we did mention other sources like usajobs.gov is a place where people are going to look for opportunities, as well as the Student Conservation Association. So Jesse Wheeler from the Park Service mentioned that they hire people through SCA. And so you would go there. Thanks, Jesse, for posting the link to the Student Conservation Association. And so if there's others like that, please share with us. Or other things that came up in your groups that you think the whole group should know.
You know, this is Nick. I'll just share, you know, one of the things we talked about in one of our groups, we recognize that often it's a big step between, say, college and careers, and big step in that it's often difficult or challenging to find those entry-level career opportunities. And I think it's something a lot of us recognize and are trying to address and create those kinds of opportunities, or more of those kinds of opportunities. I think it's a role that we play, a role certainly that Schoodic Institute plays, Friends of Acadia, other organizations as well. So I'm happy to have further discussions on that with others and figure out ways that we can create those opportunities.
I see a question in the chat that I think maybe Abe, you might be able to answer if you're still with us.
Yeah, I was just typing in. I can give a little bit more of the answer verbally, but yes, there's a program called Scientists in the Parks across the Park Service that actually offers I think about 200 opportunities in parks across the country. And we will be having 2 of them this year, but unfortunately the announcement just recently closed, so you can't apply for it this year anymore, but you can be looking for it next year. I think the announcement goes out in October and November, and then closes in January. And those opportunities are anywhere from there are opportunities for undergraduates all through graduate students. For research fellowships, and for undergraduates, it's internships. The ones here this year will be one focused on communication, so working on a science cafe program, and then another will be working on citizen science in developing a citizen science program for intertidal biodiversity.
I'm going to share my screen with an announcement about some new, because I'm taking this opportunity of quietness, couple new articles that we've launched on Acadia Science Legacy that are now on nps.gov. And these build on the previous session of the Acadia National Park Science Symposium, which was about monitoring change. And they're sort of bringing us into what will be the next session about adapting to change. And so we've launched, because Acadia has such a long history of science, the longest history of science of all the national parks that were created before 1916. And because so much of that science actually contributed to the creation of the park and is mentioned in the parks enabling legislation, we thought it was important to share a lot of these stories. And so there's this overview article. And then we've posted historic data sets that are available and ready for scientists like all of you to pick them up and re-examine them and re-evaluate them. And we're sharing stories of researchers who have done just that, including this one, I can get it, from Chris Peterson. My computer doesn't like all these things running at once. Who has revisited Johnson and Scutch work at Otter Cliffs from the 1920s and 30s. And so here's a story by Chris about his historical ecology work that you can read. We'll share the links to these stories in the follow-up email, but we hope you enjoy them, and let us know if you'd like to contribute. And certainly contact Abe if you're interested in any of those data sets. Did I miss anything about that, Abe?
No, I think this is a part of a long overdue effort to make that historical research available. When I got here 10 years ago, like our first step was to digitize these things. And so under Emma's leadership, really, we have over 3,000 documents and historical records related to research in the park now available through irma.nps.gov, which is clunky and hard to work your way through, but we're trying to make these stories, put these stories about you and other researchers out there, and also access to historical data, and also hopefully to encourage people to use those historical data sets as well as and share your own data as well.
Any other questions or comments?
Catherine, can I just make one final comment? Part of our work also, we try to send these job announcements out through career centers at various universities through Handshake, I know is used by a lot of universities. And Shannon, I was really pleased to see your comment about the EES UMaine job or site. So if people have suggestions about better ways to reach out to potential summer students, love to hear those. So keep them coming, and we'd love to connect to your students or people you have contact with.
Thank you, Stephanie. Finally, make note of the date for our next session, which is about adapting to change. We will get it posted to the website with the speakers identified, and that's going to be on Thursday, February 25th from 12 to 2, and still more in the works later this spring. Thank you all so much for your time today. We really appreciate you being here, and I hope it was beneficial, and you'll be getting some follow-ups from Emma.
Thank you. Thanks all to all the organizers, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank
you
you.
for the opportunities. Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.